It's a new day in Syria. With the country's former leader Bashar al-Assad in exile and rebel forces in control of the capital Damascus, Syrians are celebrating a rare moment of hope after 13 years of civil war. But that hope comes with uncertainty over who exactly is now in charge of the country. Here's a look at the main rebel forces that appear to be filling the power vacuum left behind by Assad's fall. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham has quickly emerged as the most powerful force in Syria. The rebel group spearheaded the lightning assault that successfully overthrew the government led by President Bashar al-Assad in less than 2 weeks. The Islamist group was formed at the start of the Syrian civil war in 2011 as a direct affiliate of the terror group al-Qaeda. Since then, its leader Abu Muhammad al-Jalani decided to take Hayat Tahrir al-Sham in different directions. It parted ways from the nascent Islamic State group and in 2016 split from the global al-Qaeda organization. The group went through several name changes, eventually rebranding as HTS, while it became the strongest force in the main rebel enclave near Syria's northwest Idlib province. HTS was designated as a terrorist organization by the US, Turkey, and others, but it continued to fight alongside mainstream rebel groups and backed an administration in Idlib known as the Salvation Government. HTS leader al-Jalani has presented himself as a moderate since the split from al-Qaeda, but some Syrians are expected to remain fearful of the group's prior allegiances.
The Syrian society is very diverse. You have a lot of minorities and different religious and ethnic groups who live in Syria, including Kurds. The Christian minority includes Armenians, Assyrians, Syriac Christians. And so it's truly a diverse country. And Jalani, because he comes from Idlib, which is mainly Sunni Muslim Arab province of the northwest, there are Syrians that belong to different ethnic or religious groups who think that he might have been able to govern Idlib, but could he actually govern all of Syria with its diverse constituency? It sounds like they're trying to become more inclusive, but it's really too early to tell if they will be that in reality.
HTS now controls Syria's main cities, but it does not govern the whole country. Al-Jalani has appointed Syrian Prime Minister Mohammed al-Bashir to lead a caretaker government until March 1st.
The caretaker government should be in charge until March of 2025, and so it's a temporary government for 3.5 months or so. And in that period of time, they are supposed to begin this transition process. HTS is kind of leading that caretaker government. So the question is, will HTS share power with the other, with these other groups in Syria?
The Syrian National Army is another group currently controlling parts of Syria. The SNA is backed by Turkey and controls land along the Syria-Turkey border. The group has its roots in previous engagements by the Turkish military to push Islamic State and Kurdish militias farther from Turkey's borders. As HTS and allied groups from the northwest advanced on Assad, the SNA joined them to fight government forces in the northeast. But the group has also engaged other non-state actors, including ethnic Kurdish militias operating in the city of Manbij. Both sides claim to have taken parts of the city.
So, you see these scenes of huge celebrations in Damascus, for example, over the weekend. People understandably are celebrating the fall of the Assad regime. And so in Damascus, it looks like things are, moving in the right direction. But in the north of Syria, the situation is quite tense still.
The Syrian Democratic Forces is another coalition that controls a large swath of Syria. The SDF includes the Kurdish-led People's Protection Units, which played a vital role in efforts to combat the Islamic State. The YPG took control of large areas of northeast Syria in 2012 as government forces pulled out to fight rebels in the west. Turkey sees the YPG as inseparable from the Kurdistan Workers' Party, which has waged a decades-long insurgency inside Turkey. Istanbul has labeled the PKK a terrorist organization and supports groups currently fighting YPG forces in Syria. The United States and EU nations have also listed the PKK as a terrorist group, yet the US and European nations have backed the SDF.
The Kurdish-led SDF. They've been a remarkably successful security partner of the United States. It is because of our partnership with them that the Islamic State was defeated as a caliphate, as a territorial caliphate. And they came to control about 1/3 of Syria, an area about the size of Croatia, because as they defeated territory from ISIS, they also didn't want the Assad regime to come back and take control of it. And so although they were not actively trying to topple the Assad regime, they were defying the Assad regime and preventing Assad from retaking about 1/3 of the country.
Together, SDF groups now control most of the quarter of Syria that lies east of the Euphrates, including the former Islamic State capital of Raqqa and some of the country's biggest oil fields. Experts say the leader ultimately tasked with trying to unite Syria must try to balance the interests and tensions of all of these groups in order to move forward.
I think all of these groups need to show a certain amount of pragmatism and willingness to compromise. And they need to be willing to engage in dialogue with each other and recognize that they represent different constituents of Syrian society. And I think they also need to recognize that they all played a role in the fall of the Assad regime.
Their unification will be paramount, considering the needs of their people.
And it would be important, I hope, I think for the private investors to begin looking at Syria to see to what extent they can help, because the country really needs to be rebuilt after so many years of war.